What's good, family? It's me, Game Boy, aka Malik, back with a new video. This is the Black Power Lecture. This is a lecture for black people about the importance and power of reading. And I'm also going to discuss things that come with being a black person in this country that's going to further stress the importance of my people reading and getting knowledge. So sit tuned, take notes because it's a lot of information coming your way that's going to empower you. Before I jump into it, don't forget to follow me on my social media, my Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. My name on all of those is I am game underscore boy. My hashtags, if you just want like quick videos and you know that I usually the hashtags that I usually post under are hashtag YBK Nation, hashtag Young Black Kings, and hashtag Malik Speaks. And my website, if you interested in more content or just want to support me, is ybknation.com. Go check it out. Before I get into it, I just want to give a little bit of background information about myself. My name is Malik. My zodiac sign is a Cancer. My hometown is Chicago. My favorite public figure my favorite public figures are Malcolm X, Young Pharaoh, and Ty Lopez. I recommend that you go check out the works of all three of those individuals because they pack with knowledge. My best slash favorite subject in school was math. If you ever want to get to know me on a personal level, I like to talk about everything, but just a couple things are spirituality, conspiracies, life, ancient Egyptian philosophy, space, relationships, black people, black history, but really like everything. You can talk to me about anything and everything. My job, I work as a technician, but I'm also a speaker, actor, and conscious rapper and an entrepreneur. And my favorite quote is knowledge belongs to those who seek it. Now, jumping into it, there are two major problems in America. The first problem is, according to statistics, only 26% of adults read books. Keep in mind, this number is even lower for black people because, as you'll see later on in my presentation, black people only make up 13% of the population. So, if I had to guess, I would say only 5% of black people read books. This is a problem because 99% of Americans have access to TV and the internet. And they take whatever they see on TV or the internet is fact instead of thinking and learning for themselves. And what do we have on TV and the internet? We got shows like fake reality TV shows like Love and Hip Hop, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, cartoons that's basically a waste of time, The Simpsons, Family Guy, and then you got lying ass politicians and newscasters. And if you don't think that these people be lying, GQ magazine recently posted an article about a Trump campaign official named Omarosa Newman. I'm sure you've heard of her, being caught on tape saying Trump used the N-word hours after she said he didn't use the N-word. Basically what happened is she said he didn't use the N-word, then he did something to piss her off, and then she turned around and admitted that he did use the N-word. First of all, it should be a red flag that the president of the United States is using the N word in the first place. But also, this just goes to show you that these people aren't always honest with you. They regular people. You know what I'm saying? They lie sometimes. Second problem that we have in this world is a money power problem. According to CNBC, the richest 1% of the world's population owns more than half of the world's wealth. I'm going to say that again. According to CNBC, the richest 1% of the world's population owns more than half of the world's wealth. Also, 6 media companies control 90% of the media. Out of all the shows that you watch on TV, more than likely is owned by one of these 6 companies. So what if this power fell into the wrong hands? What if it fell into the hands of someone who was more concerned with their own well-being rather than the well-being of everybody as a whole? They could put whatever they want on the TV because they own 90% of the media. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to take it as fact because just like I said, most people take whatever they see on TV or internet as fact instead of thinking and learning for themselves. Our world has become so obsessed with every form of entertainment, drugs, alcohol, amusement parks, video games, movies, every form of entertainment to keep the mind occupied so that you don't get in the way of, these powerful people doing what they want by doing too much thinking. It's time for people to start, not just black people, it's time for all people really to start waking up and start seeking knowledge and, putting the emphasis on education. You know what I'm saying? Stop listening to the rap music. Stop looking at the shows that's not doing nothing for you so that you're not being guided you know what I'm saying, by these people so that we can, you know what I'm saying, take back control and start getting things back to how they once were so things can start running smoothly for people, you know? Um, Young Pharaoh said, America is a machine, but the people are its oil, you know? Basically, yeah, these people got all the power, but I mean, yeah, these people got all the money, but they don't have the manpower to make things happen. The power has always been with the people. You know what I'm saying? While they sitting comfortably, you working and slaving. But if all of us say we done, it's over with. The people are the first and final source of all power. That's one of the amendments in the African Constitution. I'm gonna touch base on that later. But that was just young Pharaoh. With that being said, knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you are. I'm gonna say it again. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you are. Anti-literacy laws help prove that knowledge is power. During the time of slavery in America, we all know that it was forbidden for slaves to learn how to read and write. Why is this? This is because not every white person was proficient at reading and writing, so in order to hold power over slaves, they forbid them from learning how to read and write, eliminating the possibility of them becoming more knowledgeable than them. Slaves who knew how to read could forge the paperwork that they needed to prove that they were free. They didn't have to go through none of that slavery stuff that the other slaves was going through. Ain't no whippings or none of that. Just because they was more knowledgeable than their opponent. Knowledge is power, period. That being said, how do people get smarter? This is a list of the easiest ways to acquire knowledge. Having the desire to learn. One of the 7 Hermetic principles is all is mind. Everything starts in the mind. First you make a plan, then you take action. You know what I'm saying? Having the desire to learn. Listening, observing, looking up definitions, asking questions, reasoning, which is acting with a purpose, writing, teaching, experimenting. Ty Lopez says you should be running 1 experiment a week. And whether your experiment succeeds or fails, you're going to take in some information that's going to make you smarter. You're going to acquire knowledge. Inspecting, putting your nose to it. You know what I'm saying? If this TV turned off right now, is it because of the power? Is it because the HDMI cord not working? The only way I'm going to know is if I put my nose to it and start inspecting it. And reading. Reading isn't read because this is the one we're going to focus on. Malcolm X said, the ability to read awoke inside me some long dormant craving to be mentally alive. Something that not a lot of people know about Malcolm X is before he was Malcolm X, we all knew him to be the speaker, the minister. He was a hustler. He was in the streets. And he ended up going to jail for stealing. So while he was in jail, he basically started hearing like the white man is the devil, and the reason he had to resort to stealing is because white people were racist. They weren't giving black people jobs to support their families like they was giving their own people, so he had to resort to stealing while white people had jobs that could support a family. You know what I'm saying? So he started hearing this, but he wanted to confirm this information for himself. So he decided he gonna open a history book and start looking for actual instances in history where the white man has acted as a devil towards, colored people. So, because this is the premise of Islam, or of black Islam, I should say, that the white man is the devil. So he wanted to confirm this. So he opened up a history book, and the problem is all that time in the streets didn't teach him how to read. So he had to close that history book, and he ended up opening a dictionary. He would read the dictionary. No, he would copy a page from the dictionary every day, and then he would read that page to himself at night. He ended up copying the entire dictionary by hand and reading the entire dictionary. By doing this, his vocabulary skyrocketed. He was able to close that dictionary, open up the history book, and start reading and understand what he was reading and acquiring knowledge. And it was at this point when he said, the ability to read awoke inside me some long dormant craving to be mentally alive. Once you start reading and gaining knowledge, it's addictive. Don't nobody want to go from smart to dumb. You want to be smart and keep getting smarter. So just like Malcolm X said, once you start to read, it's going to unlock some dormant craving to be mentally alive, and you're going to want to keep reading, period. With that being said, there's a book for everything. I remember when I was young, I would watch my dad do work around the house. And my dad would do everything. He would do the wiring, he would do the plumbing, he would do the carpentry, you know what I'm saying? I would watch him pulling wires, soldering pipe for the plumbing, cutting wood and framing bedroom walls. And the thing is, most people would just learn one of these trades and, make a living off of that. But my dad doing all three. So I always wonder, like, how did you learn how to do these things? So I asked him, and what he said was all he did was get a book on it and apply what he learned. So that's what I did. I got on Amazon. I got this Black and Decker, The Complete Guide to Wiring, 7th edition for $20. And the thing about this book is not only do it teach you like the basics like safety, color code, how to pull the wire, how to plan your project, it also teach you things like how to solar power your home so you can eliminate your electric bill, how you can install a generator, a backup generator on your home so you can have power during a blackout. All of this for 20 bucks. The Ultimate Guide to Plumbing, 4th edition. Everything you need to know about plumbing for 15 bucks. The Complete Visual Guide to Building a House, 34 bucks because it's a hardcover. But the thing is, for $69, you can have complete knowledge of how homes are built, the electrical system, and the plumbing system. And after you spend that $69, the books is yours. You can always go back and reference the information. And once you have the knowledge, you can either use it for yourself to save money or use it for other people to make money. You know what I'm saying? There's a book for everything. They got books on Black history. The Egyptians said, know thyself. The easiest way to control a black person is to eliminate their knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying? So you got to acquire knowledge of self, period. They got books on how to eat healthy. 13 books. A lot of people don't know how to eat healthy or just not conscious of the fact that they're not eating healthy. They got books on important people from history. The Autobiography of Malcolm X, $7. If your name is Malcolm or Malik, you named after this man, Malcolm X, aka El Haj Malik El Shabazz. You owe it to him, you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your community to know what he did for the black community that touched us so much that made us want to start naming babies after him. Books about money. I know some of y'all want to be, y'all want to work in the music industry or, you know what I'm saying, be famous rappers, singers, beat producers, whatever. They got a book, All You Need to Know About the Music Business for 20 bucks. You can read this book, learn everything you need to know about the music business, then make a plan with the knowledge you've acquired and really take off. The $100 startup, how to start a business for $100 for 15 bucks. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A book on everything that rich parents teach their kids about money that poor parents don't teach their kids about money. Excellent book to read if you want to be rich someday. Now that we've covered that first part of the presentation, we're about to start talking about things that come with being a black person in this country that's going to further stress the importance of black people gaining knowledge and empowering themselves. First thing you need to know is that black people are the victims of oppression in America. Numbers don't lie. Black people are targeted specifically by the police and victims of police brutality. Right here, these are the numbers. In order to understand these numbers, you have to use your imagination. So I'm about to break it down to you. Imagine this. Black people make up 13% of the population. We're the minority, we're the lowest amount. So if you picture a target, black people will be like the bullseye. We in the very middle because we the smallest amount, we 13%. Hispanic people make up 17% of the population. It's a little bit more of them than us, so they will be like the next outer ring of the target. So you got black people in the middle, Hispanic people, the next outer ring. And then white people make up 63% of the population. 50% is half, 63% is over half. So white people will be like the next 5 or 6 rings. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot more of them than anybody else in America. So you got black people in the middle of the target, Hispanic people on the next outer ring, and then white people the next 5 rings. Yet, if you look at all the people killed by the police, black people is 31% of the people that's killed by police. That's almost like 33%. That's like 1 in 3 people. So in order to hit a target, you know what I'm saying, 1 out of 3 times, you got to be consciously aiming at the bullseye. If black people wasn't being targeted, then our numbers will be like way lower. It don't even make sense that it's You know what I'm saying? That it's more Hispanic people here than us, but they getting killed 12% of the time. You know what I'm saying? That is, they getting killed less than us, and there's more of them here than us. The statistics show you that black people was getting targeted by the police. Period. That's a fact. Debated with the numbers. You know what I'm saying? But numbers don't lie. So that's it. Black people also get more severe prison sentences than white people. Again, out of all the people in prison, black people only make up 13% of the population, but black people is 1 in 3 of the people in prison. You know what I'm saying? Black men make up 1/3 of the prison population, and it's only 13% of us here. So again, you know what I'm saying? Black people get more severe prison sentences than white people. Also, the New York Times posted an article stating decades of research have shown that criminal courts sentence black defendants more harshly than whites. I was going to show a video, but I'm not even going to show it right now because is no point. Just understand, like, I got the numbers here, and the New York Times posted an article stating decades of research have shown that criminal courts sentence black defendants more harshly than whites. Not only that, the N word is said repeatedly in your music, on social media, by people you around, and probably by you on a daily basis. But the definition of the N word with an ER at the end is a contemptuous term used to describe a black person. Contemptuous is another word for offensive. So the definition of the N word with the ER is an offensive term used to describe a black person. The definition of the N word with the A at the end is a respelling of the N word with the ER. The meaning hasn't changed. You know what I'm saying? The meaning is the same, yet it's said repeatedly by everybody. These are just some how are black people targeted on a daily basis. I already showed y'all that we get killed by the police the most. I showed y'all that we get tried more harshly than other races in court. The N word is used frequently by blacks and non-blacks, and hearing this word, this negative word, it keeps you in a negative state of mind. Also, when other races get away with saying the N word around black people, it empowers them, and by default, it, you know what I'm saying, it takes power away from you. Like, you should start speaking up when somebody uses the N word. Period. And it's said by blacks and non-blacks, and don't know black people do nothing about it. This is a rapper, Tekashi 69. He a Mexican. He got a whole song where he used the N word, popular song, and he's a Mexican, and don't nobody say nothing about it. Also, we portray ourselves as wild and uneducated on social media. And they portray us as wild and uneducated on the news. If you want to see this video, is funny black people on the news, and you'll see how they portray us on the news. They don't ever put no intelligent black person on the news who's speaking facts. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like a newscaster or something who probably lying to you. Also, black police officers get the police called on them in white neighborhoods. If you don't believe me, you can go to YouTube and search black police officers getting police called on them in white neighborhoods. There's no reason for people to, you know what I'm saying, make a script around this and fake it. This actually happens. This is more ways that black people are targeted on a daily basis. Blacks have the highest unemployment rate. They might try and lie to you and say that unemployment is at an all-time low, but if you look at the statistics, you'll see that white people are the blue line, Asians are the red line, and their unemployment is at 3%. Again, black people only make up 13% of the population, but we at 6% unemployment. It's twice as many black people unemployed than white people and Asians. You know what I'm saying? Black people are denied job opportunities more than white people, and black people have to work harder to get jobs. So this just goes to show you that black people are targeted on a daily basis. The greatest crime committed by the black race the greatest crime committed against the black race by society is not telling us our true history. Carter G. Woodson said, as another has well said, to handicap a student by teaching him that his blackface is a curse and his struggle to change his condition is hopeless is the worst sort of lynching. It dooms him to a life of vagabondage and crime. Basically, when we teach it, the education system works in favor of every other race except for black people because it teaches you that white people invented everything and discovered everything, and by default black people haven't contributed anything to society. So, and that's a lie, and I'm about to break it down to you how that's a lie. But by teaching our kids this, it basically, you know what I'm saying, it makes them feel hopeless, and it dooms them to a life of vagabondage and crime, period. And they lose interest in learning and education because they feel like it's hopeless. So we got to start teaching our people the true history. And we got to start teaching our people information that's going to empower them by reading books. I'm about to go into all of that. This is what they don't want you to know because it's going to empower you. In ancient times, everyone in the world was black. Historical records, skeletal remains, mummified remains, carvings, and paintings prove this. In religious school, Adam and Eve are depicted as Caucasians between 6,000 and 60,000 years old. Yet the pyramids in Egypt, Africa are over 132,000 years old. An anthropologist, which is a person who studies societies, cultures, and their developments, named Professor Leakey, made it his mission to find the origin of the first people. He went into Europe and other European countries and couldn't find any evidence of life. But when he went into Ethiopia, Africa, he found the bones of a woman that's estimated to be over 2 million years old. This proves that Africa is the origin of civilization and black people are the original people. Why does it matter if black people were the first human beings on the planet? Well, in light of colonization, slavery, segregation, and racism, and the effects of these things on the circulation of information, it's important that we be explicit about the fact that not only is Africa the origin of all civilization, not only are Africans the original people, but because we know that these things are true, we also know that all math, sciences, trades, philosophies, religions, everything originated in Africa. This is the type of information that's going to empower and inspire black African people. The colonization of Africa and the enslavement of African people and the segregation, dispersion of Africans was accomplished mainly by a well thought out cover up of human record. They accomplished all of this mostly by hiding the truth from you. So again, it's important that you start reading and gaining knowledge so that you empower yourself. This is just some quick African history. Just know that Africans did everything first, period. We was the first to domesticate the sheep, the cow, and the goat. We was the first farmers, yet today, not a lot of black people own farmland. Not a lot of black people own a garden. Not a lot of black people are even interested in gardening. When you should be, because they put in some pesticides, all type of bogus stuff in the food. You should be interested in growing your own food. We developed the first idea of trial by jury. Basically, what would happen is if we got in trouble, you would get judged in front of your elders, in front of a jury of your peers, just like today, except for rather than your elders, it's a white man, a judge. We produced the first string instruments. We gave the world its first boon in a resource-based economy, which means instead of trading money that's not backed by anything, we was trading resources for resources. You know what I'm saying? Something that's actually of value for something that's actually of value. Paper money don't have no value. It's not backed by anything except for the belief that you know what I'm saying, think that it's worth what you pay it for when it's really not. It's just paper. Africans were once referred to as children of the sun because we understood that the melanin, the stuff that makes us brown, is the same melanin that you see when you look out at the sky at nighttime. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that makes the sky black at nighttime is the same melanin that makes your skin black. So we referred to ourselves as children of the sun. Also, Africans put spiritual freedom over physical freedom. You know what I'm saying? They knew that this was just we was eternal beings. You know what I'm saying? Death is just a transitory period for your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Africans knew this. Also, Africans lived in a higher level of consciousness and followed natural laws, and order and justice prevailed because we understood that society could not survive otherwise. We just understood that, like, you know what I'm saying? We just lived. Basically, Africans felt like the meaning of life was to perfect yourself to be like God. You know what I'm saying? And what is God like? Righteous, loving, you know what I'm saying? All those positive things. So all ethical concepts were based around that principle. So everybody was thinking like, is what I'm doing God like? You know what I'm saying? So because everybody was thinking like that, law and order and justice prevailed. We got to get back on that level. That's why we got to get back to our correct spiritual, our correct spirituality. Africans also had something of a constitution, and this is kind of like what young Pharaoh was saying that he said in the beginning of this presentation. In the first amendment of their constitution is the people are the first and final source of all power. Just like young Pharaoh said, America is a machine, but the people are its oil, period. why you should embrace your African heritage. Today, blacks are overpowered by taking advantage of our collective fear and ignorance. Malcolm X said, "Beware of Negro affirmations of goodwill towards the white man. Slavery programmed us to conceal our thoughts as a matter of survival. Once black people start educating themselves and applying what they learn, it's going to empower themselves individually. And by empowering yourself individually, you're going to empower us as a whole. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting this information into you. And once you pass this on, it's going to be a chain reaction. So once people start educating themselves and applying what they learn, it's going to empower us and it's going to change the world. Facts. How did this happen? I just want to talk about how did we get to where we are today, facing the problems that we facing today, the effect that slavery played on it, and this is also going to give you some more insight on why you should practice African spirituality. Basically, historians and scholars have confirmed that the ancient Egyptians developed a very complex religious system known as the mysteries. This was also the first system of salvation. So basically, historians and scholars confirm that the ancient Egyptians developed the first religious system, period. That's fact according to historians and scholars. Egypt is in Africa, so it's only logical to assume that Africans were practicing this spiritual, this spiritual religion before slavery. What slavery did to us is when we was enchained and we wasn't allowed to read and we wasn't allowed to think for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? It basically put us in a childlike state. How do children learn? Children learn by watching their parents. When we was set free, and you could look at you could read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and he gonna talk about black people was conking their hair and basically, you know what I'm saying, dressing like white people so that we could fit into their society. We was copying white people so we could fit into their society. And we was, you know what I'm saying, we picked up Christianity the same way, from copying white people to fit into their society. The reason why we facing a lot of the problems that we facing now is because we not, you know what I'm saying, we're not doing us. We don't, you have to know yourself, period. The Egyptians said, know thyself, because those are people and they telling us what to do in order to liberate ourselves. The easiest way to control a black person is to eliminate their knowledge of self. This will eliminate their ability to be black, which will eliminate their ability to be human, and this will eliminate their ability and desire to seek that which is humanly theirs, which is their freedom. If you want to liberate yourself, you have to have knowledge of self. You have to practice African spirituality, because again, just like I told y'all that the ancient Egyptians said, the main basis of all the ethical concepts is what I'm doing God like. This is a part of the Egyptian religion, philosophy, spiritual system. Once black people start getting back into this mindset, is what I'm doing God like, we gon' ascend, period. We gonna get back to where we once were. We gonna be good. If everybody is holding themselves accountable, we ain't gonna have no problems, period. Rebuilding our community. The responsibility lies with us to rebuild our communities. Yes, white folks did us bogus with slavery. Yes, you know what I'm saying, they did us bogus. But at the end of the day, the responsibility lies with us to rebuild our communities. Ain't nobody about to come and say, let's help them. You know what I'm saying? We got to say, let's help ourselves. My enemy's enemy is my friend. Any non-black person who uses the N-word, has used the N-word, or pays another person to use the N-word, like these, you know what I'm saying, the people who own in the record labels and stuff, paying black people to use the N-word, is an enemy of the black race. Therefore, any black person conscious of this reality should be considered a friend. If you conscious, and by conscious I mean that you know it's something wrong with the world, then you should be considered a friend, period. By reading and gaining knowledge and coming together, black people have the power to liberate themselves. By reading and gaining knowledge and coming together, black people have the power to liberate themselves, rebuild the communities, and establish themselves as a powerhouse in this country and worldwide. And these are just some African proverbs that are packed with knowledge. Pause the video and read them, you know what I'm saying, if you wanna absorb that knowledge. Overall, thanks for listening. When I first started hearing this information, I got mad at the fact that white people didn't teach us our true history, and that they, you know what I'm saying, basically put us in a state that we in. But then I started realizing like America belonged to white people. It don't belong to us. You know, it's up to us to rebuild our communities. It's up to us to start gaining knowledge, gaining the knowledge we need, and start coming together to rebuild our communities and correct the problems in our race. Ain't nobody else gonna do it but us. You got to take responsibility for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Period. Um, I hope y'all enjoyed this Black Power lecture. Share this video with somebody who you know what I'm saying, who you think might be interested in learning this. I'm gonna be emailing y'all some more information on the Black Royalty Book Club within the next day or so. So be on the lookout for that. Also, don't forget to follow me on my social media. I am game_boy. YouTube and Instagram is big for me. Also, go visit my website, ybknation.com, for more content, or if you just want to support me. With that being said, as always, I love y'all. Have a good one. Peace.